Factsverse presents 10 people who died trying to break world records. Number 1. Sailandra Nath Roy. Sailandra Nath Roy was a stuntman and a daredevil from India. In 2013, he attempted to break the Guinness World Record for the farthest distance traveled on a zipline holding on by his hair. He set up his line and made his descent. Halfway across the Tista River in Darjeeling, he suffered a massive heart attack. Fans below were cheering until they realized that he had died. Soon their screams of encouragement turned to screams of horror. Number 2. Haris Suleiman. Haris Suleiman was a 17-year-old pilot. In 2014, he attempted to break the world record for the youngest person to fly around the world in 30 days. He set off on a trip with his father. Soon after they left Pago Pago in American Samoa, the plane crashed. Both Haris and his father were killed in the crash. Number 3. Janika Bosniaki. Janika Bosniaki was a 24-year-old man who lived in Sri Lanka. He wanted to set the world record for being buried alive. On a Saturday morning, he dug a hole that was 10 feet deep and he secured himself in a wooden chamber. At 9:30 a.m., his body was covered with soil. About 7 hours later, he was found unconscious when they dug him up. Soon after, he was pronounced dead. Number 4. Juan Francisco Guillermo. Juan Francisco Guillermo was a cyclist from Chile. He was trying to cycle over 155,000 miles around 5 continents. He wanted to get it done in 5 years so that he could break a world record. He had overcome 795 flat tires and needed to replace 328 tubes. He was on the last stretch of his trip. He was traveling on a highway in Nakhon Ratchasima province in Thailand when a truck hit him. He was instantly killed. He had traveled over 74,000 miles before he was killed. Number 5. Jessica Whitney Dubroff. This is one of the saddest examples of people who died tragically while trying to break world records. Jessica Whitney Dubroff was a 7-year-old pilot in training from the United States. She started taking flying lessons when she was just 6 years old. She wanted to set the world record as the youngest person to fly across the United States. Her attempt was in 1996, and she was accompanied by her flight instructor and her father. On the second day of their trip, they tried to take off in bad weather, and the plane flipped upside down and crashed. All 3 passengers aboard were killed. Jessica did not have a medical certificate or a student pilot certificate, which is required for a pilot under the age of 16, although she had already received 33 hours of flight training. Number 6. Nicholas Melovi. Nicholas Melovi was a 32-year-old diver from the United States. He wanted to break the world record for the deepest dive without fins among American men in 2013. The world record was 101 meters, and he wanted to beat it. After he hit 72 meters, he came up to the surface. He signaled that he was okay. Unfortunately, there was pressure in his lungs and blood began pouring from his mouth. A few hours later, he passed away. Number 7. Diana Paris. Diana Paris was a 46-year-old skydiver from Germany. She was part of a 222-person collective who was trying to break a world record for the largest number of people to complete 2 aerial formations before opening their parachutes. Unfortunately, Diana's main parachute malfunctioned, and it did not open during one of the attempts. She fell to her death. Number 8. Guy Garman, aka Doc Deep. Guy Garman was also known as Doc Deep and was in his late 50s. He spent most of his life diving to extraordinary depths. He believed that he was ready to attempt the dive to his deepest depth. He was attempting to set a world record for a recreational scuba dive of 1,200 feet this year. When he reached an unknown depth, he did not come back up. His body was later recovered. Number 9. Lowell Bales. Lowell Bales was an American air race and stunt pilot. During the National Air Races in 1931, he attempted to break the world speed record by going 300 miles per hour. He succeeded in breaking the record, however, there was a freak accident during his final descent. The fuel cap on the plane came loose, and it crashed through the windshield and hit Bales in the head and knocked him out. The plane crashed, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. Number 10. Javad Palesbanian. Javad Palesbanian was a 44-year-old daredevil from Iran. In 2005, he was attempting to break the world record for the longest jump on a motorcycle. He was attempting to jump over 22 buses that were parked side by side. The total distance was 209 feet. During his attempt, he crashed into the 13th bus. He died on impact. Subscribe for more.